Today our topic is Clavimate classes, human reproduction. And now going to the next slide. So the silent features of this chapter is the reproductive events in humans include the formation of gamete, that is gametogenesis, and that is a particular for sperms in males and ovum in females. And then the transfer of sperms into the female genital tract, that is insemination, and fusion of male and female gamete, that is fertilization, leading to the formation of zygote. This is followed by formation and development of blastocyst and its attachment to the uterine wall, which is termed as implantation, and followed by embryonic development, that is gestation period, and finally the delivery of baby, that is parturition. So this chapter will give a detailed knowledge about the male and female reproductive systems in humans. And coming to the marks weightage of the chapter, um, neat, it carries around 3% of the questions will be from this chapter. In board exam, this particular chapter carries around 10 to 16 marks. Okay. For distribution of marks, this is a pattern like you'll be having section A for 1 to 16, that is MCQs and 1 marks, total 16 questions and 16 marks, followed by section B, 5 questions, 10 marks, and section C, 7 questions, 21 marks, section D, diagram, which is for 8 marks, and section E is 3 questions and you'll be having 15 marks. So this is the distribution of marks. And coming to the important topics can be covered under the different mark questions. For 1 mark questions, obviously like definitions will be given. For 2 marks, structure and diagrams of ovary and sperm along with labeling. So you need to be thorough about the diagrams and also the labeling. And next, for 3 mark questions, like there will be some topic in this we are going to cover, that is menstruation with graphical representation. So this will be important. Next, for 4 mark questions, obviously reproductive system diagrams with full explanation is needed. So you need to be thorough with these sort of important things so that you can score good marks. And next, topics to be covered in this chapter is male reproductive system, female reproductive system, detailed structure of sperm and ovary, menstrual cycle, fertilization and implantation, pregnancy and embryonic development, and parturition and lactation. So next, first draw female and male reproductive system with full labeling. So we need to know about the male and female reproductive systems with full labeling. So coming to this is the male reproductive system. So major part, like male genitalia is the penis. So as you can see in this diagram, this is the penis, which is a okay. So these are the parts. So this is scrotum, which is holding the testis, as you can see. These are the vas deferens, which is connecting to the prostate gland, and these are the seminal vesicles, which are connected to the prostate gland. After passing through the prostate gland, both the vas deferens unite and pass through the urethra. Okay, so this is the male reproductive system. Coming to the female reproductive system, see, this is the uterus, and this is the fallopian tube, and this is the ovary, this one, and next, this is the cervix. Okay, and this is vagina. Sorry. So this is these are the important parts of the female reproductive system. Okay. Next, explain gametogenesis. What exactly meant by gametogenesis is first is spermatogenesis, that is 1 minute. So first is spermatogenesis and next is oogenesis. First we'll go to spermatogenesis. First exactly what meant by gametogenesis. So excuse me. An organism undergoes a series of changes throughout its life cycle. Gametogenesis is plays a crucial role in humans to support the continuance of generation. Gametogenesis is the process here. It's the process of diploid cells, division of diploid cells to produce new haploid cells. In humans, two different types of gametes are present. One is the male gamete called sperm, and next the female gametes called as ovum. So there are two gametogenesis process in humans. One is in males, that is sperm formation, which is called as spermatogenesis. And the other in females, that is oogenesis, which is called as which is oogenesis, which results in the formation of ova. So spermatogenesis. In males, immature germ cells are produced in the testes. So, and at puberty, these immature germ cells are also called as spermatogonia. These are converted into sperms by the process called as spermatogenesis. So these immature germ cells are present in the testes. But once you reach puberty stage, then these immature germ cells are going to be converted into spermatogenesis. Into sperms through the process called spermatogenesis. Okay. So spermatogonia, what we are talking about, the immature germ cells are usually diploid cells. So that undergo mitotic division, the number increases. So first division they form primary spermatocytes, undergo meiosis division, so and produce haploid cells, which are called as secondary spermatocytes. Okay, spermatogonia undergoes divisions, and the first primary spermatocytes undergo meiosis and produce haploid cells, that is secondary spermatocytes. These secondary spermatocytes undergo the second meiotic division. So here one meiosis. Here, the secondary spermatocytes undergo the second meiotic division. So, to produce immature sperms or spermatids. Sperms or spermatids. So, these spermatids undergo spermiogenesis to transform into sperms. Okay. So, various hormones like given gonadotropin hormone, LH, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and androgens. So, these are the very important hormones which are involved in stimulating the spermatogenesis process. Okay, next coming to oogenesis. This is the process of formation in females. The oogonia are converted into the mature ovum. So this process is termed as oogenesis. In the female ovary, millions of oogonia or mother cells are formed during fetal development. Okay, millions of oogonia are formed. These mother cells undergo meiotic divisions. The meiotic division rests at the prophase 1 and lead to the production of primary oocytes. Just like in males where they undergo meiotic divisions and results in primary spermatocytes, here it results in primary oocytes. Okay, primary oocytes are then embedded with the primary follicles on the outer layer. Okay, primary follicles get surrounded by more granulosa cell layer and form secondary follicles. So secondary follicles then turn into tertiary follicles. At the stage of female puberty, the primary oocytes present in the tertiary follicle. So here the primary oocytes formed at the prophase 1 rest there and that build up some within the primary follicles, and then those primary follicles are surrounded by more granulosa layers and gets into secondary follicles, and they in turn develop into tertiary follicles. By the time the females reach the puberty stage, the primary oocytes are present in the tertiary follicle. Okay, complete meiosis and form at the female puberty stage. Then these tertiary follicles will undergo meiosis, secondary meiotic division, and then form the secondary oocytes, okay, which are haploid, and the polar body by an unequal division. So during the secondary meiotic division, being an unequal division, it forms secondary oocytes and a polar body. Okay, so the tertiary follicle undergoes some structural and functional changes and produces mature Graafian follicle. So secondary oocyte undergoes secondary meiotic division to form this secondary oocyte, which is formed is haploid, that undergoes secondary meiotic division to form an ovum. So ovum is released from the Graafian follicle during the menstrual cycle. So the release of an ovum from the Graafian follicle is called as ovulation. Okay, so ovum is released from the Graafian follicle. That is obviously during the menstrual cycle it is released, and this release of an ovum from the Graafian follicle is termed as ovulation. So ovulation is controlled by the female reproductive hormone, which is stimulated by the pituitary gland. Okay. Next, describe the structure of sperm and ovum. So this is the structure of the sperm. Excuse me. So this is the head, and this is neck, and this is a acrosome structure here covering on the top of the head, and this will be the tail, as you can see. This is the structure of sperm. So the tail helps the sperm to swim through the vagina of the female. And next, coming to the ovum. This is the structure of ovum. This is the cell nucleus. And next, this is the zona pellucida layer of the ovum. And this is the cytoplasm. And these are the follicular cells surrounding the nucleus. Okay. So this coming to the various events of menstrual cycle. Okay. When the during the first day when you have having a menstrual cycle, so that will be up to 1 to 3 or 4 days. So at that time there will be the developing of the follicle begins. At the ovarian events, what the ovarian events occur is that then as the ova did not fertilize, you're going to have menstrual cycle. Excuse me. So at that time there will be developing follicle begins in the females, and then that undergoes development, and it reaches a mature follicle stage during the 11 to 13 days period, which is considered as follicular phase, where here the follicle is being developed, and then on the 14th day there will be ovulation, that is obviously release of ovum from the Graafian follicle. So and continued by that, if there will not be any fertilization of the ovule here, then that then that leads to further cycle, that is developing of corpus luteum and regressing of the corpus luteum continues. That, so as the remaining part develops into the corpus luteum, and that regresses and it completely becomes like this. And see here it is the luteal phase. So again this from 14th day to the 29th day, so this happens. If the egg doesn't fertilize, then again you're gonna have your menstrual cycle on the next after 28 days. So this is the whole period of event. And next, coming to the ovarian hormone levels here. So here during the period of ovulation, estrogen hormone is considered to be excuse me considered to be very high during the period of ovulation. Okay, and progesterone is low, estrogen is high, and coming to the developing of corpus luteum stage. Okay, then progesterone is high. So you need to be thorough with this hormone. That is during ovulation, estrogen is more, and during corpus luteum stage, progesterone is more. So, and coming to the pituitary hormone levels, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. These two hormones are the important hormones, and they are high. LH is high during ovulation when compared to the FSH. Okay, so how implantation leads to pregnancy. So this is as you can see in the diagram. This is the fallopian tube, and this is the ovary. As you know, after the fusion of sperm with ova, the fertilization occurs, and then that zygote forms. The zygote is transferred through the fallopian tube. This is the fallopian tube, as you can see, and this is the ovary. After that, the fallopian tube, the zygote passes through this fallopian tube and implants on the uterus at the blastocyst stage. Okay, blastocyst stage. So here, once the embryo reaches the blastocyst stage, approximately 5 to 6 days after fertilization. So 5 to 6 days after fertilization, the embryo reaches the blastocyst stage and it hatches out of its zona pellucida layer, which I mentioned earlier, and begins the process of implantation on the uterus. Okay. And next, pregnancy and embryonic development. So, following the ovulation, the egg is capable of fertilization for only 12 to 24 hours. That is on a, in the middle 14th day I've mentioned, the ovulation occurs. So, within 12 to 24 hours, the egg should come in contact with sperm. So, or else the egg will not be capable of fertilization anymore. So once the egg arrives at the specific portion of the tube called the ampular isthmic junction, it rests for another 30 hours. Fertilization sperm union with the egg occurs in this portion of the tube. I've said fallopian tube, right? There, there will be ampullary isthmic junction where the fertilization actually occurs. So the fertilized egg then begins a rapid descent to the uterus. So then it, as I mentioned in the earlier slide, after fertilization, the, then it descends into the uterus for implantation. Okay, here. So the period of rest in the tube appears to be necessary for full development of the fertilized egg and for the uterus to prepare to receive the egg. Defects in the fallopian tube may impair transport. If the fallopian tube has any defects, then that may lead some some complications such as that may impair transport and increase the risk of tubal pregnancy, also called as ectopic pregnancy. Okay, that may lead to a misplace of embryo. That is, and there will be no transportation, and the baby development occurs in the fallopian tube. So this is called as ectopic pregnancy, caused due to defects in the fallopian tube. Next, a membrane surrounding the egg called zona pellucida. It has two major functions. So, zona pellucida has two main functions. First is it contains sperm receptors that are specific for a human sperm. Second is once penetrated by the sperm, the membrane becomes impermeable by penetration by another sperm. So, what are the two functions of zona pellucida? Is that it has some receptors that is only specific for the human sperm. So, once second function is that once a sperm gets in contact with this zona pellucida layer, it will not be permeable again to the penetration by other sperm. So following penetration, a series of events set the stage for the first cell division. The single cell embryo is called a zygote. After fertilization, it results in the single cell embryo stage that is called a zygote. Over the course of next 7 days, the human embryo undergoes multiple cell divisions in a process called mitosis. At the end of this transition period, the embryo becomes a mass of very organized cells called as blastocysts. Just like I mentioned during the implantation process, the zygote undergoes a several multiple divisions called as mitosis, and at the end, this embryo becomes a mass of organized cells that is called as blastocysts. And now it is now believed that as women got older, this process of early embryo development is increasingly impaired due to diminishing equality. Okay, so this way, so implantation occurs that leads to pregnancy, and how the embryo develops. This is a process. So finally, write a short note on parturition and lactation. Okay, so come here, parturition. So at the end of pregnancy, the process of uterus contracting at regular interval aids in delivery of the baby. So this begins with a fetal ejection reflex. So what happens here is that there will be some signal sending from the fully formed fetus to placenta. I mean here, like, the fully formed fetus send some signals through the placenta so that the skeletal muscles receive the information and causes the contraction so that the delivery of the child is done. Okay, what exactly is parturition is that delivering of the baby. So how exactly is this done? So is that when the fully formed fetus, it sends some signals through the placenta to the skeletal muscles so that that causes the contraction, and then as the contractions occur, the delivery of the baby is done. So the gestation period is a period from conception to birth. So gestation period is a period from which the mother or the female is conceived, its conception through birth. That period is considered as gestation period. So it is a process by which, and next, this is parturition, and next coming to lactation. This is the process by which mammary glands produce milk at the end of pregnancy. Okay, colostrum is the first milk form of breast milk. Okay, the colostrum is the first form of breast milk that the glands produce. This milk is essential for the infant because it gives the newborn the initial protection against the illness. That is, this colostrum is rich in antibodies, so that it provides the baby with the required antibodies, so that gives them protection against the illness. So this is what called as lactation. The next summary. So by this we have learned about the male reproductive system, and what is the process of gametogenesis, and the menstrual cycles, what is meant by implantation, how fertilization and embryonic development occurs, and some about parturition and lactation. So about our institution, Clavimate Academy Private Limited is a startup incubated and supported by the Foundation of Technical and Business Incubation, National Institute of Technology, Roorkela, Odisha. So, for admission and other information, please do contact the number. Thank you.